Hi, I'm Jacob. I'm really nervous today because I'm about to do something very important. I'm going to Sarah's house to ask her to marry me. Sarah and I were classmates when we were younger, and we started dating again after meeting at a school reunion 6 months ago. We're both older now, in our 30s, and we've been talking about our future a lot. Sarah has been talking about getting married, and although it made me a bit nervous, I also thought it might be a good idea. So we decided to get married. I feel bad that I didn't propose to Sarah in a proper way. We decided to get married quickly without much planning. Just a few days ago, we finally decided that I would ask her formally at her house. I haven't met Sarah's parents since we started dating, but I remember seeing her dad once when we were in middle school, probably at a parent-teacher meeting or a school event. He seemed serious and focused on education, which impressed me. My own dad passed away when I was young, and he was more laid back. So seeing Sarah's dad being so involved stuck with me. He seemed like a serious person. I'm worried about what Sarah's dad will think when he learns we decided to get married so quickly and without a proper proposal. He might think our relationship of only 6 months is too short. The more I think about it, the more nervous I get. I had a hard time sleeping last night, and this morning I struggled to eat breakfast. My mom noticed and looked concerned. I told her I was going to introduce her to my girlfriend soon, but I didn't mention it's Sarah yet. I want to surprise her. My parents were also classmates in middle school, so I think she'll be happy to hear that my future wife is also a classmate. After my dad passed away, my family faced financial struggles, and I had to start working right after finishing middle school. My mom really helped me stay on track during that tough time. She's always positive, never speaks badly about others, and keeps a hopeful attitude, which has rubbed off on me. She doesn't ask much about my love life, probably because she knows I'm busy, but I want to reassure her. That's why I need today's meeting to go well. I'm feeling really nervous, like I might get a stomach ulcer. But seeing how anxious I am, my mom gave me a reassuring pat on the back and said, "You've got this, son." She's right. I can't afford to be weak now. I need to gather my courage. With that in mind, I made my way to Sarah's house. When I got there, Sarah greeted me at the door and welcomed me inside. "Come on in, my parents are waiting," Sarah said, which made me feel really nervous. When I stepped into the living room, Sarah's parents were sitting on the couch, smiling at me. "We're glad you're here. We've been waiting," they said warmly, and suddenly I felt a wave of relief wash over me. It wasn't as intimidating as I had feared. They seemed friendly and welcoming, and I started to think this meeting might turn out okay. After introducing myself, Sarah's mom brought out some tea. "Thank you," I said gratefully. "I didn't know you went to middle school with Sarah," I exclaimed, surprised. "Were you ever in the same class as her?" she inquired. I explained that we hadn't shared a class, but Sarah had approached me at the school reunion. "Oh, I understand. But I should remember you if you were a top student, even from a different class," she pondered, resting her hand on her cheek, looking puzzled. Before I could respond, Sarah interjected with a laugh. "Jacob wasn't exactly a star student, was he? Always pretty average, right?" I wish Sarah hadn't been so blunt, but it was too late. I glanced at Sarah's mom and saw her looking at me with an unreadable expression. Sarah's comment changed the mood in the room. What was once a pleasant atmosphere turned heavy and silent. After an awkward pause, Sarah's dad spoke up. "Which college did you attend?" "I never went to college. In fact, I didn't even finish high school. I had started working right after middle school." I was planning to be honest about my past when suddenly, a cup of tea flew towards me before I could finish my sentence. At the same time, there was a shout. "Don't lie to me. Sarah told me you were a CEO, but you're just a dropout who's been working since middle school. How can I trust someone like you to run a company? You're just riding on the startup trend and you'll fail soon, mark my words." Sarah's dad glared at me, shocked. He grabbed my collar and demanded, "What's your real motive? Are you trying to take advantage of me because I'm an executive at a big company?" I tried desperately to explain, but he wouldn't listen. "I can't trust someone who didn't finish high school." "You don't belong here. Get out," he yelled, pushing me away and throwing a teacup at me. I couldn't even clear up the misunderstanding or calm him down. He kicked me and I fell to the ground. Sarah and her mom just watched, not intervening. Then everything went black. He flipped the dining table and I tried to dodge, but it hit my foot. The pain was intense and I couldn't help but groan. "Stop overreacting. It can't hurt that much," Sarah's dad scoffed. Even Sarah joined in, saying, "You're so weak for a man. This is pathetic." I knew I had to get out of there. Despite the pain in my foot, I managed to leave Sarah's house. When I got home, my mom, who had been eagerly waiting for me, rushed out to greet me. Seeing her, I felt so relieved that I passed out. "Jacob, thank goodness you're awake." My mom's worried face greeted me as I opened my eyes, tears welling up in her eyes. As I came to, memories of what happened at Sarah's house flooded back. I was supposed to make her happy, but instead, I ended up causing her worry and sadness. "I'm sorry, Mom. I don't think I can introduce you to my girlfriend after all," I confessed. "Don't worry about it, Jacob. I'm just glad you're awake," my mom reassured me. "I was really surprised when you collapsed in front of me. You slept for a full day due to the shock. According to the doctor, it seems like you broke a bone in your toe. You'll be discharged from a hospital soon, but it'll take about a month to heal. They also found bruises all over your body." Prompted by my mom's encouragement, I began to recount what had happened that day. As soon as I mentioned Sarah's last name, I noticed a change in my mom's expression. "Johnson, you don't mean?" Her face turned pale. It dawned on me that when I was in junior high, Sarah's dad had criticized my mom, saying that having a single parent's child around was a bad influence on his daughter. My dad wasn't around during my junior high years, and my mom, who was working hard every day, could only attend school events once in those 3 years. She was hurt deeply by what Sarah's dad said to her on that occasion. She never spoke about it or showed any signs of being affected by it. But now, seeing my mom's frustrated expression, saying, "I can't believe the person who said such a thing hurt my son," my anger surged. It wasn't just about him looking down on me for only finishing junior high, but he had also hurt my mom in the past. At that moment, I resolved to confront them, father and daughter. The next day, I made my way to Sarah's house again. I had let her know beforehand, but Sarah didn't seem to feel guilty about what happened. Instead, she blamed me for the lack of communication during the day I was unconscious. That's just how she was. It made me feel pathetic to think that the person I planned to marry could act like that. But at the same time, I realized it was a good thing to find out before getting married. When I arrived at Sarah's house, both her parents were waiting outside. "Daring to come back here? Don't you dare set foot in this house again." Sarah's dad was already being aggressive. He didn't even acknowledge that I was on crutches with a cast on my left foot. "I have no intention of coming back inside. I've decided to file a complaint, so I came to inform you today," I declared. My words seemed to catch them off guard, and they exchanged looks before bursting into laughter. "Wait, you're serious about filing a complaint? You weren't seriously hurt. It's ridiculous to sue your fiancé's dad," Sarah argued. I informed her that the engagement was off. I thought they might be surprised or upset when I mentioned the complaint and the breakup, but they didn't seem to care. "Don't give up just because the meeting didn't go well. If you apologize, Jacob, I'll ask my dad to give you another chance," Sarah said arrogantly. "Why should I apologize?" I felt my anger rising, and I said firmly, "I have nothing to apologize for. I'm serious about both ending the engagement and filing the complaint." Then Sarah, trying to play the tragic hero, said, "My father could easily squash something like a police report. He could even make this broken engagement disappear if it happened now." I couldn't believe her audacity. How dare she act so superior? Then even Sarah's dad joined in, saying, "Sarah, we're better off without a man like this. Go ahead, file a police report if you want. I doubt you have enough evidence for it to mean anything anyway," he sneered, laughing mockingly. Like father, like daughter. That phrase suddenly felt very fitting. "Are you sure about that?" I decided to disrupt their laughter. "You have no proof that I did anything, so the police can't do anything. You thought I'd back down if you mentioned a police report, didn't you, fool?" "You should know better than to think that would scare me," I said, hands on hips. Sarah's father laughed confidently. That's when I decided to reveal the reality of the situation. "Actually, that's the evidence." Apparently not understanding what I meant, the three of them just stared at me in disbelief. I pulled out my phone and played a recording. I had been recording everything since before I arrived. I needed evidence that my injuries were caused by them. No matter how high up they were in a big corporation, they couldn't escape an assault charge when the evidence was clear. Instead of apologizing, Sarah's father started yelling at me. "How dare you? Go ahead, file your report. There's no way I'm letting you marry Sarah." Sarah's mom, who had been quiet until now, began to panic. We can still forgive him if we do it now, right, honey? She pleaded. No need. As I said earlier, the engagement is off and I will file a report. I don't want to marry someone who doesn't care when their fiancé is injured and who joins their parents in making fun of me, I declared. When I said that, Sarah, who had been looking down on me until just now, started to panic. You're lying, Jacob. You said you wanted to marry me, you liar. Sarah's dad then erupted, you low-educated punk. I'll never forgive you, and lunged at me. His punch caught me off guard, knocking me to the ground. Sarah's mom desperately tried to stop her husband from continuing to attack me while I was down. Honey, this is bad. We don't know who might be watching, she pleaded, but Sarah's dad didn't stop. You're just a figurehead CEO. You used that to lure Sarah, and now you're going to sue me. I'll sue you for fraud. Then I'll have to cancel our $5 million order with your company, he threatened. I had been contemplating it for a while, and I had made up my mind. I was going to corner this man as much as possible. What are you talking about, $5 million? There's no way you can make a deal like that. Sarah's father scoffed, getting off me and calling me an idiot. It was time to show him reality. I called my mother. What are you going to achieve by calling your mother? Sarah told me mockingly, you only have one parent. How sad that you only have your mother to help you in times like this. It really does make a difference not having a father, huh? Sarah's father, unaware of what was coming, continued to look down on me. It was almost comical. About 10 minutes later, the moment I had been waiting for arrived. Sarah's father's phone started ringing. He said it was from his company and answered the call. At first he spoke confidently, but his speech gradually became sluggish, and his face turned pale. As soon as he ended the call, he glared at me. What the hell have you done? He demanded. I did exactly what I said earlier. I canceled the order. I didn't want to do business with a company that looks down on people for their education level or family background, I explained calmly. Sarah's father still seemed skeptical. There's no way someone with your low education level could do that. Do you have connections or something? He scoffed, continuing to belittle me for my limited education. I lost all interest in continuing the conversation. Believe what you want. Goodbye, I said and turned to leave. Wait a minute. Sarah's father tried to chase after me, shouting, but he was stopped by Sarah and her mother, demanding, what's this about $5 million? What was that phone call about? He was stuck. It was true that I only finished middle school, and it could be said that I just caught the startup wave. But with the money I saved with my mother, I started a successful business that traded with major companies. Now I had my mother, who was the vice president of my company, contact Sarah's father's company. I didn't want to mix personal matters with work, but I had reached my limit. When I got home and saw my mother's usual cheerful face, I felt guilty for bringing my personal matters into it. I felt like my time as a CEO was over, and I regretted making my mother take on such an unpleasant role. Sorry, Mom, for making you make that unpleasant call. I apologized. But instead of being upset, my mother was smiling. When I asked her why, she said, I came up with a good idea and decided on my own, without consulting you, the CEO. It turns out, when my mother called the president of the other company, she told them what Sarah's father had done to me. She suggested that if Sarah's father was fired, the cancellation of the order could be revoked. By the time I got home, the president of the other company had called to say that Sarah's father had indeed been fired. True to her word, my mother continued the order. I didn't mind making the call, and we didn't have to search for another supplier. We simply removed a toxic individual who only cared about status and insulted others. With that, my mother encouraged me as if there was nothing to worry about. Afterwards, I received numerous calls and emails from Sarah, pressuring me to marry her, so I blocked her number. According to a story I heard from a middle school classmate, after this incident, Sarah found out I was the CEO and approached me at the reunion. She likely wanted to be the CEO's wife and began dating me, discussing marriage. Sarah's father was arrested because I filed a complaint. Sarah's mother, who had been boasting about her husband's job at a major company, couldn't bear the neighborhood's judgment upon learning he was arrested. She seemed to have disappeared somewhere, leaving Sarah behind. It was a fitting end for a mother and daughter who were solely concerned about their image. I maintained our contract with the company where Sarah's father had worked, and we now have a good relationship. There are discussions about new projects, and it seems like my days will remain busy but fulfilling for a while.